You Can Heal Your Life by Louise L. Picture this. A woman in her early 50s, thriving as a teacher and speaker, sits in her doctor's office. The words hit her like ice water. You have cancer. For most of us, that's where the story ends. Game over. But this woman, she made her doctor a deal. "Give me 3 months," she said. Not to say goodbye, but to try something that sounds absolutely wild. She wanted to see if she could heal herself using nothing but the power of her own mind. That woman was Louise Hay, and what happened next didn't just save her life, it sparked a movement. Her book, You Can Heal Your Life, which she boldly self-published back in 1984, has gone on to sell over 35 million copies worldwide. It's been translated into dozens of languages and has quietly become one of the pillars of the self-help world. Not because of some dense, complicated theory, but because of one simple, mind-bending idea. Here it is. The thoughts you think and the words you speak are literally creating your life. Your health, your relationships, your bank account, none of it is random. It's all a mirror of what's happening inside you. Sounds a bit wild, right? Maybe even a little suspicious? Well, stick with me. Today, we're diving deep into Louise Hay's remarkable life and the surprisingly practical wisdom she discovered. This isn't just some fluffy, think positive and everything will be fine stuff. This is about understanding the hidden blueprint of your mind and learning how to redraw it from scratch. By the end, you'll understand the one belief that sits at the root of nearly all our problems. And more importantly, you'll have real tools to start changing it. This is a journey into the most powerful force in the universe, your own consciousness. So let's dive in. Let's kick things off with a question. When something goes sideways in your life, maybe you bomb a test, a friendship implodes, or you just wake up feeling lousy for no reason. What's the first thing you hear in your head? For most of us, it's that nagging inner critic, the one that says, "Nice going, genius," or "You're not smart enough," or "Why do you even bother?" Louise Hay believes this inner critic is at the heart of nearly all our suffering, and buried beneath all that self-criticism, she says, is one devastating belief that almost every human being on the planet secretly carries around: I'm not good enough. Ring any bells? It's that quiet voice whispering that you don't quite measure up, that you don't really deserve love, success, or happiness. It's why we procrastinate, why we stay in toxic relationships, and yes, according to Louise, it's even why we get sick. This core belief of unworthiness is what she calls the problem. Everything else, the money troubles, the relationship drama, the health issues, those are just symptoms. So where does this belief even come from? We certainly aren't born with it. Think about a baby. Babies are like tiny, fearless dictators. They know they're the center of the universe, and they're totally cool with it. When a baby wants something, the whole neighborhood hears about it. When they're happy, their smile could power a small city. When they're angry, well, good luck to everyone in a 5-mile radius. Babies love every inch of their little bodies. No shame, no judgment. They're pure love, and they fully expect to be loved back. In fact, without love, a baby will literally fail to thrive. You were like that once. We all were. So what the heck happened? According to Louise, we started listening. As little kids, we learned how to feel about ourselves by watching the adults around us. If your parents were anxious, critical, or afraid, you absorbed all of that, like a sponge. You learned their beliefs about the world and made them your own. If your parents constantly stressed about money, you probably picked up the belief that there's never enough. If they criticized you a lot, you learned, I can never do anything right. These weren't just words. They were seeds planted in the garden of your future reality. Now here's the thing. Louise is crystal clear that this is not about blaming your parents. She has this lovely way of putting it. We are all victims of victims. Your parents could only teach you what they knew. If your mom didn't know how to love herself, she couldn't teach you how to love yourself. They were doing their best with the programming they got as kids. Understanding this is the first step toward freedom. It shifts us from blame to compassion. And here's where it gets even more interesting. As we grow up, we tend to recreate the emotional environment of our childhood. It's not good or bad, it's just familiar. It feels like home. So we unconsciously attract experiences and relationships that match those early beliefs. Ever notice how your boss or your partner reminds you of your mom or dad? That's not random. We're drawn to what we know. Even more, we treat ourselves the way our parents treated us. We scold and punish ourselves in the same way. The words might be different, but the feeling is identical. And if we were loved and encouraged, we carry that forward too. The entire script for our lives is often written before we're old enough to even read. Now, this might sound a bit depressing. You might be thinking, well, my past is my past. I can't exactly change that. But here's where the magic happens. Louise's most powerful teaching is this: the point of power is always in the present moment. Let that land for a second. It doesn't matter how long you've had a problem. It doesn't matter how deep the negative pattern goes. It doesn't matter what you've been through. The past is over. It only has power over you now if you let it. All the events you've experienced were created by the thoughts and beliefs you held in the past. But what matters is what you're choosing to think, believe, and say right now. Your thoughts in this very moment are creating your future. This is where your freedom lives. This is where change begins. So how do we actually use this power? It starts with another core principle. The universe totally supports every thought you choose to think and believe. Think of the universe, or your subconscious mind, as the world's most obedient assistant. It never judges or argues with your thoughts. It simply accepts whatever you believe as true, and then reflects that truth back to you in your life. If you choose to believe, life is hard and nobody loves me, the universe says, sure thing, boss, and delivers experiences that confirm that belief. But if you're willing to let that go and start affirming, love is everywhere and I am lovable, the universe says, you got it. To that instead, loving people start showing up. The people already in your life might start treating you better. Your reality shifts to match your new belief. This is why Louise says the only thing we're ever dealing with is a thought, and a thought can be changed. No matter what the problem looks like on the outside, health, money, relationships, it's just an outer effect of an inner thought. Even self-hatred is just hating a thought you have about yourself. Change the thought, and the feeling has to shift. This is incredibly freeing. It means you're not a helpless victim. You are the power and authority in your world, because you're the only one who thinks in your mind. But if it's that simple, why is it so darn hard to change? The answer is resistance. Our old thought patterns feel safe, even when they hurt. When we try to introduce a new way of thinking, our mind rebels. It throws up every reason why the new thought can't be true. This is where one of Louise's most famous tools comes in: mirror work. It's ridiculously simple, yet brutally challenging for many people. She asks you to grab a small mirror, look directly into your own eyes, say your name, and then say, "I love and accept you exactly as you are." For many people, this is almost impossible at first. Some cry, some get angry, Louise even had one guy throw the mirror across the room. Why such a strong reaction? Because for years, most of us only look in the mirror to find fault. We hunt for wrinkles, blemishes, every little thing that's wrong. To look yourself in the eye and say something positive, that goes against years of negative programming. But Louise insists this is the fastest way to get results. When you do mirror work, you immediately see your resistance. You hear all the negative chatter. And that's actually good, because awareness is the first step to change. The process isn't about fighting those negative thoughts. It's about gently letting them go and replacing them with something more loving. It's like training a puppy. You don't yell at it for making a mess. You patiently guide it back to the right path over and over. The most important thought to cultivate, the one Louise calls the magic wand that dissolves problems, is self-love. This isn't about being vain or arrogant. That's not love. That's fear. True self-love is a deep respect and gratitude for yourself, for the miracle of your body and mind. It begins with one simple, radical act. Stop all criticism. Starting now. Forever. Think about it. You've been criticizing yourself for years, and has it worked? Try approving of yourself instead, and see what happens. This leads us to the heart of the healing process, forgiveness. Louise believes all disease comes from a state of unforgiveness. Whenever we're ill, she says, we need to search our hearts to see who we need to forgive. Often, the person hardest to forgive is the one you need to let go of most. Forgiveness doesn't mean you're saying what they did was okay. It has nothing to do with the other person. Forgiveness is for you. It means giving up, letting go, setting yourself free from the past. Holding on to resentment is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. The only person it hurts is you. The process starts with simple willingness. You might not know how to forgive, you might not even want to, but just saying, I'm willing to forgive, begins the healing process. The universe handles the hows. And the most important person to forgive? Yourself. We punish ourselves now for things that happened ages ago. We carry guilt and shame, replaying old mistakes like a bad movie. Forgiveness is releasing that burden. It's understanding that you were doing the best you could at the time with what you knew. Once we start releasing criticism and embracing forgiveness, we can begin building the new. This is where affirmations become powerful. An affirmation is simply a positive statement you declare to be true. But there are a few rules. First, always state affirmations in the present tense. Your subconscious mind is very literal. If you say, I will be prosperous, your mind keeps prosperity forever in the future, just out of reach. Instead, you say, I am prosperous. You claim it as your reality now. Second, you have to feel it. Just repeating words like a robot won't do much. You need to connect with the feeling of what it would be like to have your desire. Louise uses a beautiful analogy for this. Think of planting a tomato seed. The seed doesn't look or taste like a tomato plant. But you plant it in good soil, water it, and let the sun shine on it. When the first tiny green shoot appears, you don't stomp on it and yell, "That's not a tomato plant!" No way. You get excited. You say, "Here it comes," and watch it grow with delight. It's the same with creating a new experience. Your subconscious mind is the fertile soil. The new affirmation is the seed. You water it by repeating it, and give it sunshine with positive thoughts. You pull out the weeds of negative thinking, and when you see the first tiny bit of evidence that your affirmation is working, you don't dismiss it. You celebrate it. You say, "It's working," and watch it grow into your new reality. This philosophy applies to every area of your life. Let's talk about the body. Louise believes we create every illness in our body. The body is a mirror of our inner thoughts and beliefs. Every cell responds to every thought you think and every word you speak. She famously compiled a list of physical ailments and the mental patterns that cause them. For example, headaches, she says, often come from self-criticism and feeling invalid. The new thought pattern is, I love and approve of myself. I see myself with eyes of love. I am safe. Back problems often represent feeling unsupported. Upper back pain is about lack of emotional support. Lower back pain often relates to fear of money and lack of financial support. The healing thought is, I know that life always supports me. Cancer, she believes, comes from deep hurt, long-standing resentment, and carrying hatreds. The path to healing is to lovingly forgive and release the past. Now, this doesn't mean you ignore medical advice. Louise is clear that her work is meant to be used alongside a holistic approach to health, including proper nutrition, exercise, and medical care when needed. But she firmly believes you cannot fully heal the body without also healing the mind. This applies to relationships too. Our relationships are mirrors of ourselves. What we attract in others reflects qualities we have or beliefs we hold. The things you don't like about other people are often things you do yourself, or they mirror a belief like, people always let me down. The only way to change others is to change ourselves first. When you change your pattern, you'll find that they either change how they treat you, or they drift out of your life. And when it comes to attracting love, Louise's advice is simple. Stop looking for it. Love is never outside ourselves, it's within us. Prepare yourself for love. Become the person you want to attract. Be loving, and you will be lovable. Create space in your life for a healthy, wonderful relationship, and work on loving yourself first. The right person shows up when you're ready. The same goes for prosperity. Prosperity isn't an amount of money, it's a state of mind. Lack of prosperity is just an outer expression of limiting ideas like, money is hard to come by, or, I don't deserve to be wealthy. One of the most powerful things you can do to attract prosperity is practice gratitude. Be thankful for the money you have, no matter how little. Bless your bills with love as you pay them. A bill is just an acknowledgement that you were trusted enough to receive a service or product first. When you pay with resentment, money has a hard time coming back to you. When you pay with love and joy, you open the channels of abundance. And finally, your work and career. If you're in a job you hate, don't just complain about it. That negative energy keeps you stuck. Instead, start by blessing your current job with love. Realize it's a stepping stone. Do your best where you are, and start affirming that you're open to a wonderful new position, one that uses all your talents and brings you joy. Ultimately, all these areas, health, relationships, money, work, come back to the same central point. They all come back to the relationship you have with yourself. Louise Hay's own story is the greatest proof of her teachings. At 18 months old, her parents divorced, and she was boarded with strangers, feeling abandoned. She endured a childhood of abuse and poverty that left her believing she was worthless. This pattern of worthlessness attracted men who mistreated her. Even when she became a high-fashion model in New York, it didn't help her self-esteem. It just gave her more ways to find fault with herself. It wasn't until she discovered the power of her own mind that her life truly began to change. And years later, when diagnosed with cancer, she put her philosophy to the ultimate test. Instead of surgery, she undertook a rigorous program of mental and physical cleansing. She worked with a therapist to release old resentments, especially toward her parents. She changed her diet, had colonics and reflexology, and flooded her mind with affirmations of love and healing. 6 months later, her doctors confirmed the cancer was completely gone. Her life became her message. She proved that no matter where you come from, no matter what you've been through, you have the power to change your life. You have the power to heal. It starts with a single gentle thought. It starts with willingness to change. And it starts, always, with learning to love yourself. When you really stop and think about the core message of you can heal your life, it's both incredibly simple and wonderfully radical. In a world that constantly tells us to look outside ourselves for answers, to doctors, experts, partners, money, Louise L gently but firmly turns our attention back inward. She tells us the power to create a joyful, healthy, abundant life has been inside us all along. What I find most powerful about her work is the beautiful balance she strikes between radical responsibility and deep compassion. On one hand, she says, we are each responsible for all of our experiences. That can be tough to swallow. It means giving up the comfortable role of victim. We can no longer blame our parents, our boss, or the world for our problems. But right alongside that challenging idea, she offers a soft place to land. She reminds us we're all just victims of victims, and everyone, including ourselves, is always doing the very best they can with the understanding they have. This removes the shame and guilt that so often paralyzes us. It allows us to take responsibility not with self-blame, but with empowered self-love. Her ideas were revolutionary when she first wrote them, but they feel more relevant today than ever. We live in an age of anxiety, of constant comparison on social media, where the feeling of not being good enough is a silent epidemic. Louise's work is a powerful antidote. It's a timeless reminder that our self-worth isn't determined by our looks, accomplishments, or what others think. Our worth is inherent. We are worthy just because we exist. So how can you start putting this into practice right now, today? Here are a few simple things you can try. First, try the mirror work. Just for one day, every time you pass a mirror, look yourself in the eyes and say, I love you, you're doing great. Notice the resistance that comes up. Notice the critical voice. Don't fight it. Just acknowledge it, then gently return to the loving thought. It might feel silly at first, but it's a powerful way to start rewiring your brain. Second, pay attention to the word should. Louise called should one of the most damaging words in our language, because every time we use it, we're basically saying we're wrong. For the next 24 hours, try to catch yourself whenever you say, I should. When you do, gently replace it with, I could. I should go to the gym becomes, I could go to the gym. This simple shift turns a command into a choice and gives you back your power. And finally, practice a small act of forgiveness. Think of someone who's caused you a minor irritation. Nothing too big to start. Close your eyes, picture that person, and silently say, I forgive you, and I set you free. Notice how it feels in your body to let that little bit of resentment go. Remember, this isn't for them, it's for you. That was a summary of You Can Heal Your Life by Louise L. We've explored the highlights today, but I'll be honest, a summary can only take you so far. The real magic happens when you read the book yourself. It's in those quiet moments when a particular story or simple phrase resonates with you in a way you didn't expect. This podcast is designed to help you decide if this book is worth your time. If anything we've talked about today has touched your heart, I encourage you to grab a copy. Reading it isn't just learning. It's an experience that can genuinely change the way you see yourself and your daily life. You can find a link to the book in the description below. Also, if you found this summary valuable, Please take a moment to like this episode and subscribe to the channel. It helps us reach more people and ensures you won't miss our next journey into another life-changing book. Let's keep growing together.